What is up, my beautiful gemstones? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be discussing bizarre secret hybrid programs. Now, I've discussed hybrids and hybrid programs 2 or 3 times, maybe more, here on this channel way back. But I've got some new information to share, and I figured I would bring it to you all. As most of us know, there have been some insane and downright bonkers ideas and theories thrown around in the world of aliens and UFOs, and a lot of it stretches a person's ability to believe to the absolute max. It challenges the limits of what we know and what our own reality is, with some corners of the field being much more bizarre than others, but with all of them being in the realm of some real high strangeness. So one of the things I've covered here a few times, and that's often discussed when speaking on the subject of aliens, are the hybrids and hybrid programs, what they're doing with the humans they abduct. And that's the idea that they're mixing their extraterrestrial DNA with DNA of human beings. And the reasons being given as to why they're doing this are numerous and range all over the spectrum of weirdness. There's no way for me to cover every aspect of hybrid programs, every single type and kind of hybrid program, or all of the theories surrounding it and them in this one video. So what I mainly want to talk about is the belief in hybrids is held by a lot of people, and those people believe it's actually happening through several different types of programs that are being run by several different races of extraterrestrials. However, there are many so-called experts in the field of ufology that think it all sounds totally ridiculous and extremely unreasonable. Sometimes they even say it's downright absurd. Regardless of what anyone thinks or believes or how much knowledge they claim to have, there have been numerous accounts of hybrid programs happening in the shadows, and in my opinion, one of the most bizarre things about all of this are the reports that come in from the people who claim to have been involved in or are involved in these programs, the human beings, that is. Here are just a few of the many reports I've come across from human beings who claim that they've been involved in one form or another with different extraterrestrial hybrid programs. Honestly, guys, this information goes even deeper than the usual into the realm of high strangeness, so be prepared and consider that your warning. It gets really freaky, but honestly, I'm into it. Let's jump right in. So one of the most insane cases that allegedly has to do with the so-called alien hybrid programs is that of a woman from Apache Junction, Arizona named Cynthia Crawford. Cynthia claims that since birth there has been something different about her compared to other human beings. Though she was born a fraternal twin, she was oddly missing her amniotic sac when she was born into this world, and the doctors delivering her told her parents that they had never seen that happen before and had no record of it ever happening before, ever. Cynthia had frequent health problems throughout her life that her twin sister never had, and she had unusually porous bones as well. Aside from also claiming to have psychic powers, she said she had been plagued with nightmares about being abducted by aliens, which she believes were real and simply suppressed memories of actual things that have happened to her, of actual events. I really want to discourage people. I mean, do what you want, use the words you want, but I really want to discourage people like me, people in this community, in this field, from using the term psychic powers to describe maybe some extrasensory ability or paranormal ability, however you want to put it. But psychic powers is like the word witch. It just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths, and honestly, it sounds ridiculous. Cynthia said that when she was in her 30s, her father finally came forward and told her the truth about why she experienced those things, talking to her about an extremely bizarre heritage she knew nothing about up until that point, which also explained her myriad lifelong health problems. According to Cynthia, her conception was the result of an elaborate secret experiment to mix alien and human DNA in order to create a hybrid being. In fact, Cynthia says that she has the DNA of not one, but 2 alien races in her body mixed with her human DNA, which came from her father. She was basically created in a petri dish and implanted into her mother's womb, and that's the reason why she's been abducted so many times throughout her life, beginning in her early childhood, so that the aliens who donated their DNA could monitor her progress. And from what I understand about these programs, the children that are born that are passable as human will remain on the earth. If the parent has some kind of contract with a specific extraterrestrial to do something like this, then they work it out between them. And that's, that just comes from what I believe to be fact about research I've gone through and things that I've heard that have been reported to me personally and that I found online doing my research. But if the child, like the eyes are too large or there's something else going on, including having too many Earth-specific or human-specific, I would say, health problems, they're then raised on a mothership. And that's where a lot of the abduction stuff comes from. Guys, this has like so many branches to this alien hybrid theory tree that it would be impossible to cover it all. So if you guys have any more questions, let me know, because I can talk for hours about this. I just need to be like prompted, just like with the spirituality stuff. So anyway, Cynthia was also purportedly whisked away by government officials as a child and all throughout her life and brought to secret facilities where she claims they would poke, prod, and examine her throughout many medical tests and procedures. Cynthia talked about it and said, quote, "I came from a government experiment. My father told me about it. He had operated with the government in Korea and experimented with alien devices found in their crashed ships. My mom was drugged as a part of the program and impregnated with me. For that reason, my DNA is only 34% human, and I've got very porous bones, which are typical of my alien family. There are many races, Zuma Zeta, Tall White Zeta, and Blue Arcturian. I love them all. I channel their energies into my sculptures," end quote. Cynthia is well known in many ufology circles where she talks about her experiences very candidly and openly. And she's also become well known for her sculptures of the aliens that she remembers throughout her life, like having met and having seen throughout her life as well. Cynthia died of a brain tumor in 2017, so it's hard for anyone to really know if her claims are real or not, or if they're fabricated, because how would anyone investigate it now? So it's like she took that information to the grave with her. Getting into her entire story, I could do just a whole video on that. I do believe her. What she says just rings true and sounds reasonable to me. As reasonable as alien hybrid impregnations go. There's a similar case that's made the rounds regarding a man who calls himself Eddie Page, but who was born Tommy Coleman Jr., who's from Florida. Eddie was adopted at a very young age and went on to have a life full of high strangeness. He said it all began when he started seeing a boomerang-shaped UFO in the sky when he was very young, but that things would get more intense and more weird when he joined the United States Marine Corps and was sent to Vietnam in 1972 as part of what he calls, quote, "a special elite secret service group," end quote, that were on a mission to assassinate the Vietnam premier. Something went horribly wrong, however, when he was engaged by the enemy and blacked out. So he saw the enemy coming, they were close. Before he could even move, react, make a move, do anything, he blacked out. He awoke after he thought only a few minutes had passed, and he was standing in a rice field wearing a brand new green uniform, and he had none of his weapons or any of his equipment that he had on him when he blacked out. And he thought that somebody somewhere had just taken it. He stood there seriously confused, wondering what in the world had happened to him and what was going on. And then he was quickly approached by military helicopters, captured, and then interrogated. It turned out that the rice field he suddenly found himself in when he came to was 500 miles away from where he had originally been taken from, and that 11 whole days had passed, which he had no memory of any of it. So it's at this point where he said the military informed him that his organs were quote-unquote unusual and that his blood type was anomalous. Guys, this is a documented case, and it's another one that I can just cover throughout an entire video if y'all want to hear more, but listen to this. Eddie goes so far as to say that his military medical records received a stamp on them that said, quote, "not of human origin," end of quote. He was eventually released and allowed to return to regular civilian life, having never been told how he ended up in that rice field or what had transpired during that 11 days where he had no memory. As if that weren't strange enough, it does get weirder. Eddie was constantly haunted by his past, and obviously everything that had transpired with him bothered him greatly. He wanted answers, and so he eventually underwent hypnotic regression to get the answers he so desperately wanted and needed. Now, I know a lot of you guys, a lot of people in particular, don't really agree with hypnotic regression for things like this because there's too much room for suggestion. I do believe in it, very much so. I think that in anything that you're doing, there's a margin of error, right? You have to trust the person that you're dealing with. So I'm just going to trust Eddie as his experience as he tells it. So according to Eddie, he discovered that his mission had failed and his entire unit had been killed, but that he had been abducted by the aliens from the Pleiadian star system who had come down and saved him from his certain death. They had done so because he was part of their hybrid program, which was being facilitated with the aid and the full cooperation of the United States government. He also learned that he was but one of 32 clones that were a part of the experiment, consisting of 21 females and 11 males. Only 8 of the clones survived into adulthood, and he was one of the last of them. From the moment he underwent that regression and found all of this information out, he was constantly and consistently harassed by unidentified agents, and he also claims that he has the medical documentation to prove at least some of the claims he's making, but I really couldn't find anything about that part online or any of the so-called proof. To be fair, though, I was just putting a video together quickly. I didn't really rabbit hole into the research. If y'all want to hear more about this guy's story or Cynthia from before's story, let me know. I would gladly do an entire video on it. So, is Eddie telling the truth? I mean, who knows? What I will say is that's an incredibly elaborate story and some bold claims that were being made if it were from a person who had no proof other than his word to back any of it up. In 2016, a whole group of women came forward who claimed to be the mothers of hybrids that had been spawned through similar programs for the ones we've just discussed. The women's names are Bridget Nielsen and Aluna Verse, and both of them claim that they were abducted on numerous occasions and forced to conceive hybrid babies as a part of a top-secret hybrid program. So Bridget herself claimed that she had been the mother of 10 hybrid children at the time she came forward in 2016. Both women claim that their children live with their extraterrestrial fathers aboard massive motherships in space, and that they do and are allowed regular contact with them. They say there's many other women throughout the world who have children in this way, but that they aren't aware of it because it all happens in something similar to what humans consider to be a dream state. Both women claim the fathers of all of their hybrid children are reptilians and that their children have reptilian features and huge black eyes. So interestingly enough, author GemmaJadeYT writes about these outlandish cases in a book called We Are Among You Already. She herself claims to be one of the hybrids she often finds herself researching into and writing about. The author has a somewhat off-the-wall story, and she told a reporter about it once at a UFO conference. Quote, "My planet is Fakui in the Andromeda Galaxy. Since birth, I've known I was from another place. I felt isolated and different, like this wasn't my home. I'm half reptilian and can shapeshift into another species called Faijan. It's scary when it happens in public, although other people don't necessarily notice because it happens at a higher frequency than what they can see." End of quote. Just to do a little offshoot here, guys, I talk about this specifically with the reptilians a lot in live streams. I just covered it Tuesday for Afternoon Talk. They vibrate at a different frequency. So again, it's not like a reptilian is walking around wearing a human suit. They're in front of us as reptilians, whether it be politicians or celebrities or, you know, your Uncle Joe. They're not wearing a human suit. They're vibrating at a frequency where it allows us to view them as other humans or recognizable humans. They know how to do that. Obviously, as human beings, we don't. We can only vibrate it at the frequency we vibrate at. But some people can recognize and can see reptilians specifically when they're using these sorts of vibration guises, I guess you can call it. So not everyone is immune to watching this happen or seeing who and what are really in front of everybody. That's got to be terrifying. So while it's easy, I'm sure, for many people to laugh at stories like this, I believe it's entirely possible, and I don't think I'm alone with thinking that. After all, who am I to say that someone else's experiences aren't real or true? We just don't know enough about hybrid programs. We don't even know if they really exist to be able to make any sort of informed or educated decisions before judging stories like any of the ones we've already discussed. The idea of alien hybrids and hybridization programs are very fringe ideas, and to most people, even those in the field of ufology itself, it's a very outlandish one as well. Because of that, most people would probably think it would be rare for someone smart and who is considered to be an academic or a scholar to believe in all of this. Interestingly enough, I say again, there's an Oxford University professor I came across in my research named Dr. Young Hai Chi who believes in all of it wholeheartedly. Dr. Chi teaches Korean at Oxford Oriental Institute, and since at least 2012, he has been lecturing on the idea that aliens are not only already here and walking amongst us, but that they're invisible to most humans and interbreeding with and mixing among us. He says also that there's many more than just one species that's doing these things, which if you believe in this, you kind of already know. According to Dr. Chi, there are 4 main types of extraterrestrials among us here on Earth and living invisibly in our society right now. He describes them as, quote, small, tall and bold, aliens with scales and snake eyes, and finally insect-like, end quote. He doesn't believe that they're the only types, but that they are the quote-unquote bosses, so to speak, and that they outrank all of the other types that are here doing the same things. He claims that those 4 are also the main ones behind the alien hybrid programs that we're discussing here today. He said that abducted human beings are, quote, forced to engage in sexually oriented actions with aliens or even other human abductees while under the influence of mind control, end quote. The reasons why they do this are numerous, and Dr. Chi says the chief reason among them is that they're trying to find a way to help us find a way to survive the catastrophic escalation of global warming in recent years. Not making a statement on global warming, but I don't know about that, okay? Eye roll. He wrote about all of this in his book, Alien Visitations and the End of Humanity. The book mentions, quote, one possibility is that they find our DNA valuable for the preservation of the stock. Secondly, to create species which can survive in the future climate conditions. Thirdly, some abductees report that these hybrids are of a very high intelligence, so are they producing these hybrids as a problem solver, a future leader? It may be more or less assumed that the hybrid project is a response to the impending demise of human civilization. Not only scientists and theologians, but also non-human species who appear to be greatly concerned about the survivability of human species. So, they come not for the sake of us, but for the sake of them, their survival. But their survival is actually our survival as well, the survival of the entire biosphere. Judging from the way the ETs are acting, they have a better view of our future. Perhaps it is pointing to a pessimistic future, end of quote. Now, I've heard a theory similar to this before where, like, they know human beings, like, as we are now, are going to be wiped out. So they want to have a race of hybrids because our planet is very rich, even for all we've done to it, in natural resources that a lot of these extraterrestrials covet or really want, or that remind them of their home planets or anything like that. I still somewhat subscribe to the idea that grays are us, but like millennia in the future, if that makes sense. I've covered it in other videos. So Dr. Chi says the aliens are everywhere and all around us all the time, but that we can't see them for reasons which he himself remains vague about. They're invisible to us most of the time and only choose to show themselves, their real selves, to the people that they abduct. He even claimed, quote, if they are far, they shouldn't be concerned about us. I don't think they are far away. They're just next to us. We can't see them. We can use an analogy of fish which can think and perceive things only in the way they can, and humans also perceive only in the way we can, so our perception of the world is limited by our organs, end of quote. I didn't get that at first, but what he's saying is the fish only knows the fishbowl, but we can see much more. Does that make sense? We know more about the fish than it does. Dr. Chi also offers quite a bit of lore on the hybrids themselves as well. He said that they are more and more human-like with each generation, saying, quote, the first generation hybrids still have physical features distinctive to the aliens, but from the second generation, they have almost indistinguishable body features from those of humans, although they may still carry at least 1/4 of alien genes, end quote. Much of his hypothesis is additionally based on thousands of interviews he conducted with alien abductees throughout the years. So this man goes so far as to claim that the increase in UFO abductions and sightings reported in recent years directly correlates with the increase in greenhouse gases in our atmosphere and that it sped up the need for them to create, quote, a new model of Homo sapiens, end quote. Obviously, the doctor is aware of the skepticism surrounding these highly controversial subjects and has said, quote, as you might expect, most scientists are dubious. After all, there's never been any good evidence that the abductions are taking place. No one seems to bring along a cell phone to take photos or pocket an artifact from the saucers, end of quote. Regardless of any pushback and all of the skepticism, Dr. Chi has held firm and steadfast in his own theories and opinions about all of it, which he claims is based on scientific research and that it can be backed up by data if you know the right places to look for it. According to him, aliens are implementing breeding programs to save us from ourselves, mainly in the area of climate change. You can watch his lectures on the matter here on YouTube, and I'll try to remember to leave the link in the description box, the link of the lectures. I would like to say that I agree with most of what he says, though I think the reasons they're running these programs, at least in the case of at least some of the species, are more dubious than what he's claiming they are. I believe that they walk among us, but that they aren't always invisible unless they choose to make themselves able to be seen. If you really think about it, I'm sure many of you can pinpoint a time when you were just going about your business and saw something odd enough that it left you scratching your head in astonishment and confusing, but not odd enough that it overwhelmed you and you just had to find answers. Whether or not you attribute what it was that you saw to extraterrestrials who are trying their best to stay shielded, and whether or not that's what it was in your specific case, is anyone's guess. Let me know, please, what you all think in the comments below, guys. Let me know if you want to hear more about any of these individual subjects. All right, just keep it respectful, keep it cute. That's all I have for you today, guys. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed hanging out with me, and if you enjoyed hanging out with one another in the premiere. Check out the description box for some important links, ways to donate to the channel, PayPal, Cash App, my Amazon wish list gift link. My books are available on Audible, Kindle, and paperback through Amazon and Audible. Missing the Fae Theory, Encounters with Evil, 101 True Terrifying Stories, and Shadow Entities, Sleep Paralysis, and Beyond. I will sign copies of any of the books. Let me know before you make the purchase. You can reach out to me through text or email me at GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com for any other correspondence. The schedule for the week, most of the time, like sometimes it does change because things come up. The schedule for the week most of the time, though, like the main schedule, is in the description box as well. Please consider becoming a channel member. I'm still getting in the groove with membership videos, but I am planning on doing a lot more exciting things. And the more members I get, the more able I'll be to able to do things like live streams where I can do Oracle for like just each individual person without having 40 people. Whatever you guys want to see. I want to talk more about spirituality. I want to channel some more. If you didn't catch it this past Sunday, so it would be 2 Sundays ago from when you're watching this, if you didn't catch it, check me out with Wayne and Michelle at Pit Chat. They used to be Michigan UFO Paranormal. The Michigan husband and wife team, Wayne and Michelle, they have Pit Chat now, and I had an amazing, amazing, amazing time. I got to channel, I got to discuss the Black Eyed Kids, spirituality, the other realm, spiritual warfare, and so much more. Like, I got to just run away with the subject. They just kind of gave me the floor. It was an amazing, amazing time. I don't even know how to explain it. That's why I'm a little like tongue-tied right now. Plus, still have this cold. By the way, if all goes well and as expected, you are watching this on Christmas. So if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, guys. I did send out about 83 or 84 Christmas cards. So if you didn't get yours yet and you were expecting one, it's coming. And I also sent out quite a few Christmas/Yule boxes as well. I had to send them out late though, you know, things and stuff happen. So anyway, be kind to each other, guys. It doesn't cost anything. Be kind to yourselves and never accept anything less than others being kind to you. If nobody told you today, you're amazing. Okay, you can do anything you want. The power of manifestation is real. The power of positive thinking, having a positive mindset. If you feel that nobody has your back, nobody believes in you, guess what? I have your back. I believe in you. You got this. Email me anytime, GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. Always going grace. Smile at a stranger, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.